Welcome back to What Arty Noobs. This is the M60. It's a tier 10 American premium medium tank. It's located on the northeast spawn of Glacier, and this one is under the command of Jamie2006. Now he's got a 105mm gun, the L7A1. It's capable of 390 alpha, penetrating 268 with standard APCR, and with the premium rounds it will do 350mm, and it's got very high velocity with the APCR as well, so it point and shoot if you can get it on target. You can probably see the big drawback to this tank. It does have an enormous carbuncle of a cupola. It is basically an M48 pattern that's been redeveloped, a deep modernisation of it. Okay, it's headed straight towards the centre line. Looks like some enemy tanks have managed to get there ahead of him, and I think 6x6 trying to get it into the carrier. Looks like he took a hit for 354, a low roll. Okay, he's got enemy tanks up ahead of him, and he puts one into a Skoda. Now this tank has got, as I say, a very good L7A1 gun, but it's also got an incredibly good 9 degrees of gun depression. Well, I say incredibly good, it could be 10 degrees, but it's not. But anyway, puts a round into the rear of the E75. He actually took a round from that E75, but 528, so he's obviously got the 128mm gun. Tries to get the enemy, what's that, their pattern, or there was another one up there, not just the E75, I think it was a Panther 2 actually that he saw going by. Bounces around from Panther 2. Looks like he's hasn't got anything other than the 88, or maybe something similar. Poking out. Yep, got you in the side of the turret. Now the standard reload is 8.44 seconds, and you can see that Jamie's managed to get it down to 711. He's bouncing rounds from just about everybody. A Barask, there's a Waffenträger up there somewhere. Oh, and there's a Crampon. And you can see effectively he's trolling them. There's the Waffenträger. Okay, pumps one into him. He's got no armor. He's working this corner as much as he can, and this tank is really good at working positions. It's actually a Borsig's up there, and the Borsig just got wiped out by RT30 with a 1 shot, because Jamie managed to reduce his health by enough. Puts one into the side of the turret of the Crampon, which is the weak spot, and the Crampon's looking at him. Oh, he pulled back before he took another round. Okay, Waffenträger. And he's bounced another round from the Waffenträger, so he obviously didn't go for the cupola on this tank, which is obviously the weak spot. Now they built 15,000 of these. Chrysler's the one who got the order for doing it, so they just had to redevelop the M48 in the meantime. Basically, it was the last tank with a escape hatch in the bottom of the tank. It was also a cast hull and turret, and it was made with a single casting, and it was also the last tank to use homogeneous rolled armor, or homogeneous steel armor, I should say. But it's got a lovely casting as well, which is very, very good at stopping the shells, because it's very rounded all round. Even the cupola is fairly rounded. Pumps one into the Progetto, but he took around there from a CS59 that he can't see, but he bounced around from a CC1. Oh, and the CS59 hit him in cracks, and there's he had to burn his repair kit there, because that Crampon would have taken advantage. But the Crampon's down to his last few hit points, and he's out the game now. And there's a steel wall there. Can he get around into that Progetto? Come on. Just missed him. There's the CC1 that fired at him. You can see he's off there. We can't see the CS59 at the moment though, but he was in that near that position. He's trying to use his gun depression to get up on these guys. The enemy's down to just 4 tanks now. They've been virtually completely wiped out, and in no small part down to Jamie, because he's been sitting in the centre of the map blasting away at them. 5.5k of damage already, and I think he wants to make that more. You can see the amount of damage on the front of his turret. Only one big hole showing. CS59. Yes, gets the engine bay, pumps in a big hit. It was a low roll actually, funnily enough, but he did actually get some track damage as well. And oh, a T100, you've placed yourself where we can't retreat. And then we've got the E75 behind us, and the heat round didn't go through that. Jamie's having to use the heat round. It's long range anyway, and the E75 does have good armor. Oh, and he gets a nice hit there, high roll. Yeah, it's not very nice having somebody sit behind you when you need to retreat. The T100 LT did kind of block it. Oh, and he gets the kill on the Progetto. That's nice, and that means now there's only 2 enemies left. And we know that the CS59 and CC1 Mark II, we can see where the CS59 is, and he just got wiped out. And that means now the only remaining enemy is that CC1 Mark II. Where are you? I think the team are converging on the road just around the edge there. That's where they think he is. He's keeping his eye in that direction just in case he pokes out through a hole. But I think he's trying to get close enough so he can get his gun underneath that CC and pump him through his belly. It's going to be a rather awkward hit. There he is. Yes! Gets the kill shot that wins the game. Nicely done. Jamie managed to get an ace tanker out of that game. Very well done indeed. He got a shell proof for blocking more damage than hit points to his own vehicle. A spotter for spotting at least 1,000 hit points of damage, and he was doing that because he was up at the center line, so he was spotting all the enemy tanks every time he popped up. As well as a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle. A bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he managed to get 5 in this one, exactly. And he got the high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game. A Confederate for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. You can see he was spreading the love all around. As well as a steel wall for blocking the most damage in that game. And yes, he was taking shots from quite a few players, including the lots of tanks in front of him, like the Waffenträger, who managed to bounce around off him, the Kramvan, who bounced around off him. Yes, so lots of people were bouncing off his armor, and that's surprising considering it's got that huge carbuncle of a cupola right on top, and that's so easy to hit. But yet he was moving about so much they just couldn't hit it. 10,797 was the win rate from that game. It just goes to show how effective he was in the game. And you actually have to scroll the results to see all the tanks he hit. Yes, because he hit a lot of the enemy. Anyway, let's have a look at the team score and see where he was. Well, his high damage was 7,116 hit points. The next highest scorer was the E75, the guy who actually did pen him with his 128. He got 4,201 hit points. And the third highest damage turned out to be the SU-130 PM on his own team with 2,569. So he really dominated this one when it came to damage. When it came to kills, yep, he got the top on that one as well. 3 kills, but he shared it with the GSOR, or GSOR. Yep, they both got 3 apiece. 2 kills went to the T-54E1, the T-30, and the Waffenträger on our own team. And on the enemy team, the E-75 is the only one who managed to get more than 1 kill. When it came to base XP, he's got that one too. So he's got the top in all 3 columns. 1,252 base, which is the only player to get over 1,000. 853 went to the GSOR, 803 went to the Barask. I think that just goes to show Jamie dominated this game. He really did, and he did it from the center of the map. 25 shots fired, 21 direct hits, and 19 penetrations, all while I was waffling on in the background. 7,116 hit points of damage, of which 3,528 were up more than 300 meters. You can see he was doing a lot of long-range shooting. It's a very accurate gun, the 105, and of course, as you know, it's basically a design of the British L7A1. So it's very, very accurate. He also managed to get 11 hits received. That's where he got the steel wall. 2 penetrations. One of those belonged to the E75. 9 non-penetrations. And 3,570 hit points of damage blocked by armor. 4 enemy vehicles were spotted. 11 enemy vehicles were engaged and 3 were killed. And he earned 2,264 hit points of spotting assist in the game. 100,745 credits on a premium account, and after repair, ammunition, resupply and consumables took away only 3,292 credits profit, but he did have to fire some premium rounds during the game. He also got 7 bonds for being a tier 10 game, 1,878 XP from the battle, times 5 for the first victory of the day, 3,756 for completing a mission, and 94 for this being a premium vehicle, but it's one that they give away, so you don't earn extra XP from it because it's a giveaway one. You only get the extra XP if it's one that you've actually had to pay money for, because wargaming's like that. So 13,240 experience points altogether. So the M60, let's have a quick look at the armor on this beast. It's actually quite strong. I mean, it looks as if that's light armor. It's not light armor. It's quite strong. 254 impacted armor there, coming out at 274. But you can see as it goes further away from the center point, the angling and the cast turret actually means it makes it much, much stronger. The cupola is the weak spot. 114mm impacted armor. But you can see here it only comes out with all the rounding and everything at the best of about 130 or so, or 129 near the top. I think if you hit the top there, you get about 300. But most people will actually be able to hit this big carbuncle. And if they do, the effective armor is only about 130. And most tier 10s, tier 9s should be able to get through that, no problem. The upper plate is 93.2mm impacted armor, but again, it's very well cast, very well rounded, and that increases the effective armor a bit. But it's, remember, this has got good gun depression, 9 degrees, so you use that effectively, you're going to increase the armor to about 248 from around that angle. If I bring the gun down, yes, you can see that you're going to be hitting strong armor on that upper plate if somebody does hit you while you're depressed. And if you hit the lower plate, again, it's 93.2, but again, very well shaped, that egg-shaped front. And that means that hitting that armor is also going to be effective armor of about 200mm. The sides are not so strong, 73.7 coming out at 123, but it's the shape that counts. It's slab-sided, I'm afraid, on that bit there. The sides of the turret, actually, again, it's very nicely cast, but it's not giving you much help. The help is only really at the front, so you really want to keep this one, if you can. Try and angle it or front to target, then it's going to be very difficult for them to penetrate that turret. Just don't let them see the cupola for too long. And if you can get the rear of the vehicle, is very lightly armored, 50.8 or 35, you can see at one point there. The engine deck is only 35.8, so tier 10 Arty should be able to penetrate, especially if they can get the roof because of the turret, because it's only 25.4mm there. So yes, you should be able to penetrate that with Arty. So let's have a quick look at the live model. Well, and the live model, you can see the turret is very, very strong. If I move it about like that, you can see lots of red turning up, which means it's going to block a 105mm shell. And if I turn the angling of the armor a little bit, you can see you're going to get an auto bounce at some angles. So yes, it's strong, but you can see the weak spot of the turret. That big cupola is very, very, very easy to hit and penetrate. Let's have a quick look at the modules. Okay, driver in the center up front. He's got ammo racks around him, so he's not going to be a happy bunny if he does get penetrated, because he might go boom. The driver yes, he's the only one up front. We've got the gunner on the left-hand side. The tank commander is directly behind him. And then we've got the loader on the right-hand side of the tank. He's got a ready rack directly behind him in the bustle. And the radio is on the TC side of the tank. At the back, we've got the engine with the transmission behind it, surrounded or sandwiched between 2 fuel tanks as well. And there is a deep store of ammo directly underneath the gunner in the turret. So yes, there's something on this side of the tank, not on the other side actually, only on this side of the tank, the right hand side, but you could probably get between the tracks right underneath where the turret is and make it go boom that way if you can get a pen. So that shows where all the vulnerabilities are. I think the best one would be the bustle of the cupola if you can get it, the carbuncle, which will take out the tank commander, or if you can, slide the shell between the 2 rollers and you might get yourself an ammo rack that way. And of course, if you go through the bit further back, you're actually going to get a fuel tank and you might get a fire. So thanks again to Jamie2006 for sending in a replay that's really interesting, because That one was so quick as well. It wasn't a short one. It was 6 minutes. But I suppose 6 minutes actually is a short one if you think about it for tier 10. But yes, he was blasting away at the enemy and getting great results. And it gives me a chance to talk about a tank that we rarely get to see on What Arty Noobs. But it is interesting to see them. So thanks for sending it in, Jamie. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.